Scorpio, if this message reaches you on March 13th, 2026, take a moment and settle into the quiet around you. There is a certain atmosphere to this day, a subtle pressure in the air, as if life itself is pausing just long enough for you to notice something that has been forming beneath the surface. Scorpio often senses these shifts before they fully reveal themselves, and today carries that particular kind of energy, the kind that asks for your attention in a very quiet way. Scorpio, over the past days or even weeks, a feeling may have been moving slowly through your inner world. Nothing dramatic, nothing loud, yet something unmistakably present. A thought returning more than once, a conversation that lingered in your mind longer than expected, or a moment where your intuition whispered that a deeper meaning was beginning to surface. For Scorpio, awareness rarely arrives as noise. It rises like a current beneath still water, subtle yet powerful, drawing your attention towards something important. On March 13th, the energy surrounding Scorpio carries that same quiet intensity, the sense that a realization has been gently approaching the edge of your awareness, waiting for the exact moment when you are ready to see it clearly. Sometimes the most powerful moments in life appear in this way: a simple realization, a shift in perspective, a deeper understanding of something that once felt uncertain. Scorpio, these realizations often arrive when the soul has been observing quietly for a long time, gathering insight, watching patterns unfold, feeling the rhythm of life beneath everyday moments. And lately, many Scorpio individuals have been sensing that rhythm changing. Something inside you may feel slightly different, as though a door within your awareness has begun to open just a little wider. You may notice how certain thoughts now carry more clarity, or how certain situations suddenly feel easier to understand than they did before. Scorpio energy thrives in these moments of deep perception. When awareness rises, it illuminates pieces of life that once remained hidden in the background. And once that light touches something important, the entire landscape of your path begins to rearrange itself in quiet and fascinating ways. March 13th holds the kind of energy where that awareness begins to gather strength. Scorpio stands at a subtle threshold today, sensing movement beneath the surface of ordinary life. A quiet realization begins to form, and with it comes the first ripple of something meaningful unfolding. And before we explore where this inner signal is coming from, Scorpio, it helps to understand the quiet feeling that many of you have already started to notice deep within your own awareness. Scorpio, lately there has been a certain quiet signal moving through your life, something subtle yet unmistakably present. It feels less like a sudden event and more like a gentle pressure within your awareness, as if the deeper layers of your perception have begun to stir. A shift begins this way for Scorpio, quietly, almost invisibly, long before the outer world reflects it. You may notice certain thoughts returning again and again, circling through your mind with a strange persistence. These thoughts carry a feeling attached to them, something deeper than simple curiosity, something that asks for your attention in a calm and steady voice. Scorpio often experiences these moments like ripples spreading across still water, each one pointing towards something meaningful beneath the surface. At times it appears as a feeling that your emotional world has become more vivid. Conversations linger longer in your mind, small details begin to stand out, and your intuition seems to reach further into situations around you. Scorpio carries a natural connection to the deeper currents of life, and recently those currents may feel more alive than usual. Imagine standing beside deep water on a quiet evening. The surface appears calm, almost perfectly still, yet beneath it there is movement, a hidden current slowly changing direction. Scorpio understands this language of depth instinctively, and the signal appearing in your life now carries that same quiet movement. For some Scorpio individuals, this inner signal may arrive through moments of reflection. You pause during an ordinary day and suddenly feel a subtle awareness rising, as if your perspective has shifted just enough for new insight to appear. A realization begins forming gently, piece by piece, like light slowly filtering through deep water. Other Scorpio viewers may experience it through intuition, a sense that something in your life is guiding you toward a different rhythm, a slightly different path, or a new understanding of something that once felt settled. The awareness grows quietly, gathering strength in the background of your thoughts. Scorpio, this is how transformation often begins. A moment of awareness appears, and with it comes a soft expansion of perception. You begin noticing patterns, emotional signals, subtle changes in the way people speak or respond. The world around you feels the same on the surface, yet inside your awareness, something begins to align. And when Scorpio recognizes the value of that inner voice, the entire landscape of possibility begins to shift ever so slightly. Awareness becomes the first movement of something deeper, something that slowly reshapes the path ahead. Right now, Scorpio, that awareness may be rising within you like a quiet tide, carrying small realizations toward the surface of your understanding. The signal feels gentle, almost mysterious, yet it holds the kind of depth that always leads somewhere meaningful. And as that awareness continues to grow, another layer of this unfolding energy begins to reveal itself. Because within the emotional world of Scorpio, something important may soon rise into the light. Scorpio, as this inner awareness continues to move through you, another layer of your experience begins to rise gently toward the surface. Emotional truth carries its own rhythm, and lately that rhythm may feel stronger within your heart. Something meaningful within your emotional world has begun to gather clarity, like light slowly reaching the deeper waters of your perception. For Scorpio, feelings rarely move in shallow currents. They travel through depth, through quiet observation, through moments where the heart listens more than it speaks. And recently, Scorpio may sense that certain emotions have become clearer than before, as though the heart itself is bringing something into focus. Sometimes this clarity arrives through a conversation. A few words exchanged in an ordinary moment suddenly carry deeper meaning, and Scorpio feels the emotional tone behind them. A simple dialogue begins to reveal layers of intention, connection, and understanding that were always present beneath the surface. At other times, the moment appears through something smaller, a message, a glance, a pause in someone's voice. Scorpio has a natural sensitivity to emotional energy, and that sensitivity allows you to feel when truth begins to rise. The heart notices shifts that others may overlook, subtle signals that carry quiet significance. There may also come a moment when Scorpio recognizes something within their own emotional landscape. A realization forms gently, like a mirror reflecting a deeper feeling that has been waiting patiently for acknowledgement. In that moment, the heart understands something with new clarity. Scorpio energy thrives in these moments of emotional depth. Vulnerability carries a kind of quiet power, and when the heart allows itself to feel honestly, a new level of connection begins to unfold. The emotional world becomes clearer, warmer, more aligned with the truth that lives beneath appearances. For Scorpio, this clarity creates a subtle transformation in relationships. When emotions become understood, the space between two people changes. Words carry more authenticity, gestures carry more meaning, and connections begin to feel more grounded in something real. Some Scorpio viewers may sense that a particular relationship in their life is reaching this moment of emotional clarity. The energy between two people begins to shift slightly, opening the door for sincerity, openness, and deeper understanding. In these moments, emotional honesty becomes the quiet foundation of connection. And Scorpio, when feelings find their voice, relationships naturally evolve into something more mature, more genuine, more aligned with the truth of who each person is becoming. The heart recognizes this movement long before it becomes visible in the outer world. You may already feel this subtle shift moving through your emotional space, like a tide rising slowly through deep water. Scorpio senses these changes instinctively, and the heart begins to prepare for the conversations and realizations that carry meaning beyond words. If your heart has been sensing that a truth is ready to be spoken, take a moment and share that feeling with others who may be walking a similar path. Comment below and write, "My heart knows." And as this emotional clarity continues to unfold for Scorpio, another realization begins to rise quietly within your awareness. A realization connected to something just as important, the recognition of your own value and the strength you carry within your path forward. Scorpio, as emotional clarity begins to settle within your inner world, another awareness slowly rises beside it. This awareness carries a different tone, quieter yet deeply grounding, like the moment when you suddenly recognize the weight and meaning of your own presence. Something inside Scorpio begins to observe life from a slightly higher vantage point, noticing the value that has been quietly growing through every experience. For Scorpio, time holds a special kind of significance. Every moment of effort, every emotional investment, every quiet act of loyalty carries energy that accumulates beneath the surface of your life. Recently, Scorpio may sense a new awareness emerging around the way your time flows and where your energy naturally wants to move. You may notice moments when you pause and look at your daily life with fresh perception. Certain responsibilities begin to reveal their true weight. Certain opportunities begin to glow with subtle promise. Scorpio starts to feel the difference between where energy feels expansive and where it feels heavy, and this awareness begins to reshape the way you see your path. In these moments of reflection, Scorpio gradually recognizes the depth of what you bring into the world. Your presence, your insight, your persistence, each one carries a value that grows stronger through lived experience. And when that realization begins to settle in your awareness, a quiet confidence begins to rise alongside it. This confidence moves differently than surface-level pride. It feels calm, centered, almost magnetic. Scorpio energy begins to recognize the power of your own dedication, the patience you have carried through seasons of effort, the quiet strength that has shaped your journey. Some Scorpio individuals may notice this awareness appearing in the area of work or purpose. A project, a responsibility, or a role you hold begins to reflect the depth of your contribution more clearly. Recognition may arrive through subtle signals, a conversation, an opportunity, a moment when someone finally sees the value that Scorpio has carried all along. For others, the realization appears internally. Scorpio begins to understand that your energy carries worth far beyond what surface situations once suggested. When this understanding deepens, decisions begin to shift naturally. Your time feels more intentional. Your choices begin to align with the deeper rhythm of your own growth. And as Scorpio honors the value of your time, your effort, and your presence, life itself begins to respond in quiet ways. New pathways appear gently at the edges of your awareness, like doors that have always existed yet now feel ready to open. This recognition does something powerful inside the Scorpio spirit. It gathers your experiences, your patience, your emotional depth, and weaves them into a stronger sense of personal authority. You begin to move through life with a steadier center, aware of the energy you bring into every room, every conversation, every opportunity. And as this deeper sense of value continues to unfold within Scorpio, another layer of understanding begins to reveal itself through the people closest to your world. Because sometimes the clearest reflections of our growth appear within the patterns of family and the emotional connections that have shaped us from the very beginning. Scorpio, as your awareness of personal value begins to settle into place, another layer of understanding slowly rises into view. This layer feels deeply connected to the people who have shared your history, family, long-standing relationships, and the emotional bonds that quietly shaped the person you are becoming. Within these familiar spaces, Scorpio may begin to notice something new, a pattern revealing itself through the memories and conversations that once felt ordinary. Sometimes this awareness arrives during a simple moment with someone close to you. A conversation unfolds, and suddenly the tone carries a deeper meaning. Scorpio senses the emotional threads woven through years of shared experience, and a quiet realization begins to surface. Family energy holds powerful echoes of the past. Every relationship carries stories, emotions, and patterns that formed over time, sometimes repeating themselves across many seasons of life. Scorpio often feels these currents very clearly, like deep water carrying old reflections beneath the surface. Recently, Scorpio may find yourself looking at these familiar dynamics with a different kind of awareness. Something within your perspective has shifted just enough to reveal connections that once remained hidden in plain sight. A moment from the past suddenly makes more sense, or a behavior within someone close to you begins to reveal its deeper origin. These realizations often arrive gently. Scorpio might notice how certain emotional patterns once shaped your choices, guiding the direction of relationships and responses. With this new awareness, those patterns become easier to understand, like a map slowly unfolding in front of you. Understanding carries a calming effect for Scorpio. When the mind and heart begin to recognize the deeper structure behind past experiences, the emotional atmosphere within you softens. The past begins to feel less like a weight and more like a story that offered wisdom through time. In some cases, Scorpio may experience this shift through a meaningful conversation. Words spoken between family members or longtime companions suddenly carry a different kind of openness. A shared moment of honesty can illuminate the path between two people, allowing empathy and compassion to flow more freely. At other times, the realization appears within your own reflection. Scorpio sits quietly with memory, observing how emotional cycles formed through years of experience. With each new insight, your understanding grows deeper, and the emotional space around those memories begins to transform. This kind of awareness brings a subtle healing energy. Scorpio begins to see people with more depth, more patience, more clarity about the journeys that shaped them. Emotional maturity grows naturally from this perspective, like a steady light illuminating the path forward. When Scorpio recognizes these patterns, the future begins to feel more spacious. The past becomes a source of insight rather than a repeating script, and your awareness allows new emotional choices to appear within relationships. If a conversation or realization within your close circle has changed your perspective recently, take a moment to share that moment of awareness. Comment below and write, 888, I see the pattern. And as these realizations continue to move through your inner world, Scorpio may begin to sense something else quietly forming on the horizon. Because once awareness deepens and emotional patterns become clear, life often prepares a moment where everything begins to shift at once. Scorpio, after periods of quiet awareness and deep reflection, life often begins to move in subtle yet undeniable ways. The inner shifts you have been sensing start to ripple outward, touching the events and opportunities that surround your path. For Scorpio, these moments carry a special kind of energy, a feeling that something meaningful has begun to align just beneath the surface of everyday life. There may come a moment when a door seems to open with gentle timing. A conversation leads to an unexpected opportunity, or a message arrives that carries more significance than it first appears. Scorpio often recognizes these moments through intuition, sensing the quiet importance behind what might appear simple to others. Sometimes the turning point arrives through a decision. A choice that once felt distant now feels clear, as if the pieces of understanding you gathered earlier have finally settled into place. Scorpio begins to see how different elements of life connect together, forming a path that suddenly feels more coherent. Other times the shift appears through an offer or invitation. A possibility enters your world, and something inside you immediately recognizes its potential. Scorpio has a remarkable ability to feel when a moment carries deeper purpose, when an opportunity resonates with the rhythm of your own evolution. These turning points rarely arrive with noise. They feel more like a quiet wave gaining momentum, gradually lifting your awareness toward a new horizon. Scorpio senses the movement first as a subtle excitement, a gentle surge of energy that suggests the next chapter of your journey is beginning to unfold. Momentum builds slowly at first. A series of small events begins to connect in ways that feel almost synchronistic. Scorpio notices how conversations, timing, and circumstances start to weave together, creating a pattern that seems both surprising and perfectly placed. There is a particular feeling that accompanies moments like these. It feels like alignment, like standing at the edge of something meaningful and recognizing that the path forward carries a certain clarity. Scorpio experiences this as a quiet surge of confidence, an inner knowing that the time for movement has arrived. What once existed as awareness now begins to translate into action. The patience you carried through earlier seasons of your life begins to reveal its deeper purpose, Scorpio understands that every moment of observation, every emotional insight, every quiet realization has prepared you for this stage of forward motion. And when Scorpio steps into this momentum, life begins to respond in kind. Opportunities become easier to recognize. Conversations carry new possibilities, and the path ahead begins to illuminate itself in subtle yet powerful ways. You may sense this shift already moving through your life, Scorpio, like a current gathering strength beneath calm water. The pieces begin to align one by one, forming a direction that feels both surprising and deeply familiar. And as this movement continues to unfold, Scorpio may start to see how each realization, each emotional insight, and each turning point connects into a much larger picture. A picture that reveals the deeper meaning behind everything that has been unfolding in your life recently. Scorpio, as this moment settles gently around you, the path you have been walking begins to reveal a quiet sense of meaning. Each realization, each subtle emotional shift, each moment of reflection has carried you deeper into your own understanding. Scorpio often travels through life with a powerful inner awareness, and lately that awareness has been expanding in ways that feel both profound and deeply personal. You may sense how different pieces of your journey now begin to connect. The feelings that rose quietly within you, the clarity that touched your heart, the recognition of your own value, and the deeper understanding of the relationships that shaped your world. All of these threads begin to weave together into something larger. Scorpio stands within a moment of transformation that grows from the inside outward. There is a calm strength within this process. Scorpio energy holds a natural depth, and through that depth comes a powerful capacity for self-discovery. When you look inward with honesty, when you honor your intuition and emotional insight, something beautiful begins to unfold within your life. Growth often moves quietly at first. A realization here, a shift in perspective there, a new sense of alignment slowly taking shape. Scorpio begins to move through the world with a deeper sense of presence, carrying the wisdom gathered from every experience along the way. In this space of awareness, life begins to open gently around you. Opportunities appear with a sense of timing. Relationships begin to reflect greater authenticity, and your path feels more connected to the truth of who you are becoming. Scorpio moves forward with a quiet sense of purpose, guided by the awareness that has grown within your own heart. There is something peaceful about this stage of the journey. Scorpio stands beside the river of time, watching the current flow with a deeper understanding of its rhythm. Each moment carries meaning, each choice shapes the next chapter, and the path ahead begins to shimmer with possibility. So if this message reached you at the perfect moment today, Scorpio, you may feel that quiet recognition inside your heart, a simple awareness that the next chapter of your life is beginning to unfold. Take a moment and share that feeling below. If these words resonated with something within you, comment and write, "I am ready for the next chapter." And if this space felt meaningful to you, you are always welcome to continue this journey here. A gentle like, a shared message, or a quiet subscription simply opens the door for more moments like this to find their way to you. Wherever your path leads next, Scorpio, carry your awareness with you. The deeper currents of life continue to move, and somewhere within that quiet movement, the next realization is already beginning to rise.